morning students. Today we are going to see part D in lesson 1. Only the contents we are going to see from the lesson. Today we are going to see part D lesson 1. That is compare and contrast various definitions of economics. First we will see about there are 4 types of definitions and 4 types of economics are there. First one about the wealth definition by Adam Smith. So what he is telling is that Adams defines economics as the science of wealth. He is telling about the science of wealth. So it is called as wealth definition. He says that every man is motivated by his self-interest, isn't it? Each person earns money and income for what purpose? For earning more wealth. And next one for the welfare definition by Alfred Marshall. Welfare means welfare for the society, something good for the society. Alfred Marshall in his books Principles of Economics or defines economics thus, that is political economy or the economics is study of mankind in the ordinary business of life, that is ordinary life in the society, social welfare you can take it as. It examines that part of the individual and social action which is most closely connected with the attainment and with the use of material requisites of well-being. For the social welfare, this is called as welfare definition. Thus, it is an one-side study of wealth, and on the other hand, it tells about the part of the study of man, about the what are the purposes and needs of man in their daily life. Next, scarcity definition. Yesterday we saw that, isn't it? Scarcity means shortage. Shortage by Lionel Robbins. So what is telling this shortage? Lionel Robbins published a book, an essay on the nature and significance of economic science. According to him, economics is a science which studies human behavior, means human wants, as a relationship between ends and scarce. Ends means wants, and scarce means the shortage of the product and the uses wants of the human being which have alternative uses. As I told you yesterday, scarce means shortage. So there will be, if there is a shortage, there will be an alternative use for that. If you don't have mobile, you can use your laptop. That is the example already I told yesterday. Next lastly we will see about growth definition by Samuelson. Samuelson is telling that he defines economics as a study of how men and society choose with or without the use of money. That is, men comparing with the men and society, he is telling with or without the use of money to employ scarce productive resources which could have alternate uses to produce various commodities over time, distribute them for consumption and in the future among various people and groups of society. So I will explain in easy words. Wait. That is, he is telling, it is comparing about the scarce and the resources. Okay. So how to overcome this? Next, explain the various divisions of economics. This also I explained to you yesterday. That is, there are 4 divisions, 4 activities of economics. That is consumption, production, exchange and distribution. In simple words, consumption is the first basic. Why? The need of human wants. The need of human wants is called as consumption. So we need a product, so we have to consume, isn't it? For that purpose, the producer starts producing the products. For example, clothes, cosmetics, all these things, mobile, electrical gadgets, all these things, laptops, everything. So when a consumer needs a product, the producer start producing. And next one, it is exchange. It has been distributed among the wholesaler, retailer and the shopkeeper. Then the consumer go and buy in the shop. This is called distribution. But how you are buying and selling? It is by the exchange of money, isn't it? So first I will explain about consumption. Human wants coming under consumption is the starting point of economic activity. That is, the consumer wants a product. In this section, the characteristics of human wants based on the behavior of the consumer, the diminishing marginal utility and consumer surplus are dealt with. These two we will see in the next lessons, forthcoming lessons, okay. What is law of diminishing marginal utility and consumer surplus? Law of diminishing marginal utility means, I will tell you in simple words now. That is, as you buy more and more, if you are purchasing dresses, okay. As you buy more and more, what will happen? Your wants will reduce. I have many dresses. I have 50 sets of dress. So I won't buy dress, you will tell, isn't it? Consumer surplus means you are going to buy a product with 100 rupees or 1000 rupees. So you are getting a discount and you getting a 50 rupees or 500 rupees balance. That is called consumer surplus or dealt with. Or dealing with the This is called business tactics, okay? Diminishing marginal utility and consumer surplus are dealt with. Next one, we will see about the production. Production is the process of transformation of inputs and into output. That is, input means the producer is putting input, the raw materials, the investment, everything money he is putting inside, and the output is called as the profit. In economics, output means profit, what is getting, what the producer is getting. So he is investing in the business and then he is getting the profit when he is selling the product. The division covers the characteristics and role of the factors of production. The 4 factors of production, in forthcoming lessons we will see all these things. The 4 factors of productions are land, labor, capital, organization, and also the relationship between inputs and output. Next, we will see about the exchange. Exchange means the value of money for buying and selling, how much we use for buying and selling. Exchange is concerned with the price determination in different market forms of the money. This division covers trade and commerce, that is buying and selling. Consumption is possible only if the produced commodities placed in the hands of the consumer, isn't it? How you are a consumer, we are the consumers. So how we will get the product? If you give money only, the shopkeeper will give the money to us. Lastly, we will see distribution. Production is the result of coordination of factors of production. Since a commodity is produced with the efforts of land, labor, capital and organization, the produced wealth has to be distributed among the cooperative factors to the consumers. How? From the industrialist to the wholesaler, wholesaler to retailer, retailer to shopkeeper, and the shopkeeper to the consumer. It's ourselves. We are the consumers who buy the products. Next, we will see about the elaborate the nature and scope of economics. Nature and scope of economics means what is the purpose, all the reasons for the economic personalities. First, we will see about the nature of economics. The nature of economics of a subject refers to its contents and how and why they find a place in the subject. This nature is understood by studying the various definitions given by the notable economics. That is, we saw about the 4 economics, isn't it? Alfred Marshall, Robbins, and next one, Marshall, Robbins, and who's it? Adam Smith. All these things as we have seen in the front. So each definition represents a unique generalization. A wide variety of definitions paves the way to arrive a near complete agreement on the subject matter of economics. In simple words, I can tell you, economics. A law expresses a causal relationship between two or more than two phenomena. Marshall states that economics laws are statement of tendencies, and it tells economic laws are not inviolable, and the use of assumptions other than other things retaining the same, and economics makes the economic laws hypothetical. Laws in economics are more exact, precise and accurate. So the laws of economics are more exact, precise and accurate than the other social sciences. Some economic laws are simply truism. So next one, a wide variety of definitions pave the way to arrive a near complete agreement on the subject matter of economics. 4 definitions, each referring to a particular stage of the growth, the subject of economics are presented here. Smith's wealth definition tells about the classical era, representing the classic era. Marshall welfare definition representing the neoclassical era, and Robbins Cassidy definition representing the new age, and lastly Samuelson growth definition representing the modern age. Now we will discuss about all these things in coming questions. Next we will see about the scope of economics. The scope of economics is that subject of economics refer to the subject matter of economics. It throws light on whether it is an art or science. So there is a confusion in the economics. Whether it is art or science, they are telling it is accurate science, it is social science about the society. And if science, whether it is positive science or normative science. Yesterday I told you about positive science and normative economics, isn't it? Economics focuses on the behavior and interactions among economic agents. The agents means the people who are in the line of production and distribution, isn't it? Producer, distributor and the consumer. So they are the agents. Individuals and groups belonging to the economic system. Economics studies the ways in which people use the available resources to satisfy their multiplicity of wants. That is, Whatever we have, we need, we will use, isn't it? We purchase and we use it. Economics is concerned with the activities of human being only. The activities of rational or normal, rational means decision making, or normal human beings are the subject matter of economics. All human activities related to the wealth constitute the subject matter of economics. So it is telling about the whole economics. Scope of economics is telling about the whole economics. What is economics and what are these features? Next, we will see about the explain the basic problems of the economy with the help of production possibility curve. That is, production possibility curve means what are the problems in the production. Production possibility curves show the menu of choice along with the society can choose to substitute one good for another, assume a given statement of technology and given total resources. That is, production possibility curve is maintained by the producer. So the producer knows all these assumptions. The time period does not change. So the production must be, you are a producer, okay? So you must have all these things in your mind for the production possibility curve. The time period does not change. Techniques of production are fixed. So I am a producer, so I must have all these things in my mind. The time period does not change. The techniques of production are fixed. There is full employment in the economy. Only two goods can be produced from the given resources. And resources of production are fully mobile. Mobile means it can be exchanged from one thing to other thing. Now we will see about the production possibility curve. Production possibility schedule. That is First thing you see, production possibility schedule. Roman number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, isn't it? We are going to see about two items. That is about the quantity of food produced and the number of cars produced, which is important for us. The food production is very, very important to us. The first stage it is 0 and it is increasing 100, 200, 300, 400 and 500 lastly. So next you will see the number of production, isn't it? So first we saw what to produce in the question in last class. So now we see about the food and car. Food is very essential in our daily life. Car is only for the luxurious purpose. So which we will purchase more? The food, isn't it? 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. But what about the car? It's reducing. You see the numbers 25, 23, 20, 15, 8 and 0. So which is needed we will purchase. Otherwise they won't produce. So next one. This schedule suggests that if all resources are thrown into the production of food, a maximum of 500 tons of food can be produced given the existing technology. As I explained to you very easily, we need food products or the luxury products. We need only the food production daily, isn't it? Food products daily. Which is more needed? Food production is needed. On the other hand, all resources are instead of used for producing cars, 25 cars can be produced. So which is needed? Only the food is main. In between these two extreme possibility exists. If you are willing to give up some food, we can have some cars. That is not needed, isn't it? This is the production possibility curve. That is, I will explain to you the diagram. We can obtain a production possibility curve by drawing production possibility schedule graphically. That is, according to the schedule, you will draw the curve. X-axis. What is in the X-axis? The food production is in the X-axis and number of cars in the Y-axis. The different 6 production possibilities are being shown as point P1, P2 and P3, P4, P5, P6. So according to the schedule, you will draw this curve. PPC shifts upward or downward due to the change in supply of product resources and the change in the state of technology. This production possibility curve have changes in what? Change in the supply of product resources and the change in the state of technology. Thank you students. We will finish this lesson with this and we will continue in the next class with the second lesson. Thank you students. God bless you all.